Today I want to talk about what I call your inner Popeye. Many of you may not remember Robin Williams did a movie about Popeye the Sailor, the cartoon character, back in the 90s. Those of you who do remember it, remember the movie was really bad. They lost funding halfway through and basically made up the ending from what I understand. And so very strange movie. Anyway, I saw an interview with Robin Williams as he was filming Popeye. And he talked about this mutter that Popeye did as he was always walking around. And Williams says that he sees that as his conscience, that Popeye is always sort of muttering out loud to himself to process things. The point is, Popeye is always talking to himself. So are we. We don't want to think we are. We don't want to believe we are. We forget we are because our ego wants us to think that, oh, those are just thoughts. But no, we are actually talking to ourselves. We are not only seeing what is and describing it to ourselves, we are evaluating what is, and we're telling ourselves stories about it, which then lead our lives. And the person we tell the story about the most, who is, it's the wrong story, is, as Popeye said, I am what I am, and that's all what I am. In other words, he used to always say that. I don't know if you remember in the cartoons. I am what I am, and that's all what I am. In other words, I am me. I am. There's a wonderful song, and I highly recommend it to you. It's called I Am What I Am, and That Is That. Look it up. Beautiful song. I am what I am, and that is that. So let me go back real quick, touch on the Bible, because I think you'll find this interesting. Think about the fact that when Moses was called to go and try and free the Egyptians from the Pharaoh, Moses was being sent in the name of God. Now, back then, there was no God, not one God. It was not monotheistic. All society was polytheistic. They had many gods. So Moses, in the story anyway, in the book of Genesis, says to God, who shall I say sent me? God says, tell them I am has sent you. I am has sent you. The power in the words I am is incredible, and we misuse it so often. We affirm things about ourselves that we don't want to be true. People say things like, I am bad at math. I am not good with computers. I am not good with people. I used to affirm that about myself all the time. That I would tell myself that if I'm on stage, I'm great, but one-on-one, I'm not good with people. So you know what I did? I read How to Win Friends and Influence People probably 7 or 8 times, and I still go back and listen to it at least once a year on an audiobook. I no longer wanted to affirm that for myself. My question, I guess, for you today is, what is it that you want to be, but that you claim you're not when you're talking to people? Now, why do we do that? We try to be self-effacing. I remember being a little boy, my mother said something to me which was just so wrong, but she used to say it all the time. We were driving to school, and I heard an interview with Muhammad Ali on the radio. And my mother said, because Ali would always say, what? I am the greatest. I am the greatest, okay? And when you ask people, let me finish the mother story real quick. The mother story is that my mother clicked her tongue and went, that man sure loves himself. Like that was a terrible thing. Like loving yourself is a terrible thing. And where I grew up in South Carolina, that was kind of considered a bad thing. People, you're full of yourself. Oh, he just loves himself. You're supposed to love yourself. And more importantly, you're supposed to say nice things about yourself. You're supposed to state positive affirmations, not negative affirmations. When you ask people, who is the greatest boxer of all time? And they've actually done this. I read a sports article one time, which is atypical. I'm not usually a sports guy. But I was reading this article, and they said, who is the greatest boxer of all time? And they asked thousands of people, and everybody said, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. In fact, when you ask people his nickname, they say the greatest, right? He was not the greatest boxer of all time. Ken Norton was, had more wins, more knockouts, etc. But Muhammad Ali affirmed it so much that we believed it. So what are you affirming that is not positive and productive and good for you? that is causing you to not live out the ideal life that you want to be. Stop affirming things you do not want to be true. Stop saying, I am a bad cook. I am not able to exercise. I am whatever. People limit themselves by first defining themselves. Let me say that again because that's extremely important. First, you define yourself, and then life demonstrates what you have defined yourself as. We say, I am not good at this. I am not capable of that. And in most cases, what drives me crazy is when people affirm that, it's about something they've never even attempted. Oh, I could never do that. That's a very common thing I hear people say. Oh, I could never do that. I'm a professional speaker and I've trained lots of professional speakers. And I've created a professional speaker training program. And so often when I tell people that I train people to become speakers, they say, oh, I could never do that. Really? Were you ever on stage and had a bad experience? Oh, no. I just couldn't imagine doing that. Not realizing that speaking is a learnable skill. It's not a talent. It's not something you're born with. It's a skill that you can master and can be taught. But people go ahead and affirm it and take it off the table. Now, I'm not saying you should become a professional speaker unless you want to. And I'll be telling you more about my complaint-free training program later on if you're interested. But what I am saying is that before you affirm you're no good at something, give it a try. The other day I was talking to somebody and they were affirming that they were no good with technology. And it's not the person who is probably watching right now and thinks I'm talking about them. This is somebody else. But this person would always affirm that they were not good with technology. And what I found was they were fine with technology. So for example, this person used to say, oh, I can't understand Facebook. I can't understand it. Well, you know why? The person had never even loaded Facebook on their phone. And once they did, you learn incrementally. A few years ago, I purchased a software program that we still use today. When you go to check out in our store to get complaint-free bracelets, books, sign up for the Complaint-Free Life program, and it's called Infusionsoft. Now, in the industry, Infusionsoft is famously called Confusionsoft because it's very, very ostensibly very difficult to learn. So you know what? I purchased the software and then spent months. I never even looked at it. For a year, I was paying like $270 a month and not using this program because people had told me it was too difficult. I'd never figure it out, etc. So I went on YouTube and watched the basics of Infusionsoft, and I went in and I played around in it. And you know what I can tell you right now? I'm a whiz at Infusionsoft. But back then I used to say I could never do it. So it's not like you have to affirm everything that is in existence and go out and master it. You know, I am a world-class bullfighter. No, I'm a world-class bull something else, maybe. But I'm not a world-class bullfighter, nor do I desire to be. But if there's something that you desire to be, don't let yourself talk yourself out of it, number one. And realize there's nothing charming or endearing about it. My mother thought that being self-effacing and self-critical and everything like that was charming. I guess the only way I could put it was almost pleasing to God. You know, it was arrogant. It was terrible to be in favor or positive about yourself. But to say, you know, I am great at something. If you would say, if you would accomplish something in my family, like, I don't know, I won some state acting awards, you know, they felt that their job was to put you back into check. If you started getting a little too big, they wanted to push you down. Well, let me tell you, for all we know, this is the only life you get. I was joking with somebody the other day. I said, you know, I don't believe in reincarnation. I did in my previous life, but not anymore. Anyway, for all we know, this is all we get. And so we should explore, enjoy, and try everything as much as we can. Begin to replace I can't do this, or I'm not good with this, with either I'm learning to do this or I am trying to do this. Don't automatically convince yourself and shut yourself down, because one of the things that I can tell you is that people who say, and this is a very common one, that's why I keep coming back to this, oh, I'm no good with technology. Okay, I know a lot of people who say, I'm no good with technology. Well, they misunderstand how good other people are with technology. They think that other people must somehow be a whiz or be better than they are. And it's simply not true. It's one step at a time. When I was taking flying lessons and I was struggling to learn to do touch and goes, landings and takeoffs and everything, we were in the air and my flight instructor pointed to a Boeing 737, probably 10 miles away, but you could see it in the sky. And he said, do you realize that that pilot started exactly where you are? We tend to overinflate the capabilities of other people, and we tend to underinflate the capabilities of ourselves. So today, starting today, I want you to get in touch with your inner Popeye. What does that mean? I want you to, just like Popeye, have this running banter if nobody's around, and if they are, run it in your head. And I want you to use the power of the words I am to affirm positive things about yourself. Here's the thing, this is positive affirmations. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Why am I talking about this? Because the brain is never neutral. If you don't give the brain something productive to do, it is going to find something destructive to do. It is going to criticize you and or others. So here are the 3 keys, and they all begin with P, to creating affirmations. You ready? All right. Number 1, they must be present tense. It's not I'm going to be good at technology. I am good at technology. Okay? It's not someday. It's not I was. It must be present tense. That is why the words I am. Even if you're not there yet, this is something I can't stress too much. Begin to say you are. Remember, the change happens internally before it happens externally. You've got to convince yourself first. So number 1, present tense. Number 2, it must be positive. You can't talk about what is missing. You must talk about what is present. You can't talk about what you're not good at. You want to affirm what you aspire to be good at as though it were already happening. And the last thing about an affirmation is it must be powerful. How do you make it powerful? You put a powerful word in there. I am here's one that I use when I'm getting on stage. I say over and over, I am a great speaker. I am a great speaker. Okay. I am an awesome speaker. You need words like great, powerful, awesome, extremely, very, things like that to excite your mind and excite your nervous system to move you in that direction. So remember, get in touch with your inner Popeye. Let me check up and see what everybody's been saying while I was talking. As long as we can hear you, says Linda. Good morning from Indiana, says Sherry. Glad to have you here. Noreen says salam from Pakistan. Salam, or is it salam alaikum? Cynthia Barchers, I do remember, and yes, really strange. So true and good message to share, and I did. People limit themselves by defining themselves. That's exactly the truth. I'm a juggler, as I've told you, and I'll be outside juggling and somebody will come up to me and say, oh, you're so talented. I could never do that. Juggling has absolutely nothing to do with talent. Nothing to do with talent. Just like speaking, learnable skill, and I can teach you both of them. What I tell my kids, whether you say you're good at, bad at it, either way you're right. Therese Witterig Napier said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That's exactly right. But I'm going one step further. We can say whether you think you can or think you can't. That's pithy and cute. But I'm going to positively affirm what it is you will. Yes, Lori, that's it, says Therese. Trish says, I'm going to have an awesome day. Exactly. Trish Parr said it twice. Therese says, haha, Trish. Cynthia says, I'm grateful for today. Therese Napier says, I am a great person. I want to talk real quick about Trish Parr and also Daniel, who's normally here with us. In our Complaint Free Life program, every day people post what day they are on the Complaint Free 21-day challenge. And Trish and Daniel and Cynthia have been posting just consistently. So I'm going to send all of them a copy of my book, To You Love God, my daily devotional that just came out a couple of years ago now. But anyway, I'm going to send them all an autographed copy. And if you want to find out more, go to a complaintfreelife.org. I'll put it in the description. I still can't get it right. Complaintfreelife.com. There we go. Maybe you'll remember it since I can't. Complaintfreelife.com. And I want to remind you, as someone said just a minute ago, about the shares. Be sure and remember to share today's JumpStart. If you do before noon, which is 3.5 hours from now, you could win a Will Bowen tumbler, the world's greatest invention. Keeps hot drinks hot, cold drinks cold, and it knows which one to do. That's kind of amazing. Wouldn't you agree? All right, everybody, listen. Affirm. I am having an awesome day. I am happy. I am grateful. I am good at this. Because if you don't, your brain will begin to tell you what you are not. That will make you quite unhappy. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about your not your inner, but your bodyguard. Believe it or not, yes. Therese says, I'm a great person. Yes, you are. Trish says, thank you, Will. And so this is awesome. That's right, Cynthia. Yes. So once again, that is, I'm going to type this in. Since I said it wrong several times, complaintfreelife.com. Click on it, check it out. You can get 30 days free just for checking it out. And listen, everybody, I affirm for you an awesome day. Me and Teddy are going to have a wonderful day. And I know that all is going to be great for you. We will talk tomorrow. See you at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more.